Fortnite Chapter 4 has been out for about a week now, and in that time, I've gotten to experience the new Battle Royale island along with plenty of new game-changing mechanics. But more importantly, I've been messing around with some of the incredible features recently added to Creative as a result of the new chapter. From the Chapter 4 weapons and movement mechanics to an entire rework for devices and their settings. This is one of the strongest starts to a new season for Creative that we've seen in a long time. So come on, let's talk about it. Now, because I didn't record a video when the season initially changed, talking about all of the stuff that was added to Creative, we're going to get to talk about that and update version 23.10. So this is going to be great. Hey everyone, this is Syntax, and today I wanted to highlight what I think are some of the biggest changes and additions to Creative as a result of the new chapter. Now, I am well aware that the majority of you are probably all caught up with what is new in Creative because, you know, there's people out there that get the videos out faster than I do, but I really wanted to just take this time to talk about some of the biggest changes and give my opinions on them, as well as highlight some of the bugs and other things like that. Anyway, there's a lot to cover, so without further ado, here are some of the biggest changes and additions to Creative in Chapter 4. Starting us off with the features that are not exclusive to Creative, we now have all of the new Chapter 4 weapons, including both of the shotguns, a machine pistol, an SMG with a reload mechanic that has not yet been introduced into the game before this, and an AR with an absolutely gorgeous red dot sight. All of the new weapons come with their own unique looks and feels. Now, my personal favorite is the new SMG because it has those two magazines attached to each other that allows for that new reload mechanic where you just have to flip one of them upside down, making your initial reload faster, which again is something we haven't seen yet. Of course, it's always nice to fight with new weapons, especially considering in previous seasons we didn't get those new season's weapons right away in Creative. So the fact that we got 5 from the get-go here is just more than we could have asked for. Continuing on the path of features that are also in Battle Royale, you can now enable hurdling on all of your Creative islands. First it was sliding, then it was tactical sprinting and mantling, and now we have hurdling, which depending on the height of the object you're approaching and how long it is, has so many different animations I honestly couldn't even count. If the surface you're trying to get onto is around the shin area, then you'll just do a quick step up onto it. But once it gets at around waist level, you'll start to incorporate your hands to help you either up onto the surface, or you'll use your hands to get over it by swinging your legs out to the side, or just sliding your legs across it entirely. There's even an animation for when you're sprinting at a surface that is around chest level, where you'll use your hands to get yourself up over the object, and then completely miss it with every other part of your body, which is ridiculous. These are some insanely athletic characters we have here. Obviously, there's a height limit to what you can hurdle, as you can clearly see, but regardless, this is still a really cool mechanic to have in the game, and I'm excited to see what people do with it in the future as far as parkour maps go. And with that, I think we've now covered all of the features that were implemented into Creative as a result of Battle Royale. So it is now time to take a look at some of the biggest changes exclusively to Creative this season. I want to start by talking about the device limit that no longer exists. All of the devices before this chapter that were limited to a certain number of placements no longer have those limits. This includes the boulders, the physics trees, guard spawners, and even the accolade device. As a matter of fact, the only device that still has a limit is the supported creator button, which is honestly a good thing because God knows what people would create if it didn't. On top of there no longer being a limit, devices as a whole this chapter got a massive rework. They improved the UX across all of the devices. They improved the UI for selecting colors and entering numeric values. Certain devices actually now have additional options allowing for more control over their behavior, and some of them even got completely new functionality. To get access to all these new features, all you have to do is open your island settings, go over to tools, and scroll down to where it says upgrade devices, where you can click the option that says convert and reload. It'll give you this little message that says by upgrading it you get access to additional features, and it gives you a warning because it says there will be bugs, which there are bugs. Do not do this right now because it is so bad. Just to name a few of the bugs that happen once you upgrade your devices, the prop mover no longer works. Item granters aren't granting people the items that they say they will. Skydome devices completely disappear off of your map, and mantling ceases to work even though it says in the island settings that it is on. So I think it's safe to say just wait until Epic figures all these out, and then you can go ahead and upgrade. Despite these minor inconveniences, devices are getting better, and as creators, we now have more tools than ever before to keep creating better and better experiences for you guys. So once Epic works out some of the kinks, I think we're going to be in a really good spot. Anyway, as most of you have probably already seen, we now have cylindrical options for the barrier, mutator zone, and damage volume, as well as every device that was previously associated with a plate can now be placed regularly as a prop, such as the team settings and inventory and the sequencer. One of my personal favorite changes was the combination of the movement modulator and the speed boost device into one unit, because now we can both administer a boost and adjust the player's speed from one device, and we have an insane amount of precise customizability over it. In case you guys weren't already aware, we've always had the ability to influence the player's speed by just sending a signal to the movement modulator, but thanks to this new device rework, we now also have the ability to administer an impulse to any player by just sending a signal, regardless of their location on the map. Now, instead of having to come in contact with the device to receive that impulse, I can just send a signal to it via whatever I want, and I'll receive the same impulse. In this case, I'm using the signal remote, and as you can see, as I click it, it then launches me into the sky. Just be careful when you're doing it out of water, because you'll look kind of awkward in the air. Now, those were some of the biggest changes to creative that went live as soon as the new season came out, but there's also a handful of content that was brought in by update 23.10 that I still want to highlight for you guys. The Excalibur rifle has made its way into creative, as well as Slap Berries and Slap Juice, which I assume do the same thing, they're just in a different format. And we now also have dirt bikes, so I can't wait to see all of the dirt bike racing maps that'll pop up very, very soon. The old channel browser has finally been replaced with the new event browser. You still access it the same way by opening your island settings and clicking whatever button it says to click, but instead of channels, it now shows you all of your devices, how they're interacting with each other, what devices are sending signals where, and you can still teleport to them, which is pretty nice. A lot of the devices that have to do with scoring and keeping track of points, like the score manager, collectible item, and objective devices, now have a HUD that you can customize. I assume that's for the Mr. Beast challenge because I haven't played it yet, but yeah, now you have HUD settings on all those devices, so have fun customizing that. Apparently, they also made the player collision capsule smaller, so now you can fit into tighter spaces that you might not have been able to fit into before. At least we know where their priorities are at. Also, I forgot to mention earlier that there was a very talented group of mechanics that decided to go through and compile a list of all of the changes that happen to every single device once you decide to upgrade them. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, it should be linked down below. You can literally find all of the changes to every single device, and it is super useful. Listen, aside from the game-breaking bugs like item granters and prop movers not working, mantling randomly getting disabled for no reason, and primitive shapes resizing when you decide to change their color, this is actually a pretty strong start for creative. It's all too easy to forget that the people over at Epic headquarters pushing these updates, they're just human. They make mistakes, as do you and I. Once you look past that, you'll realize that there is so much new, incredible, game-changing content to work with that really there's nothing to complain about. I'm excited to see what creative holds for the future, especially considering we're supposed to be getting 2.0 in January, which could potentially flip the entire game on its head. But anyway, guys, that is everything I have for you today. I really do hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, this has been Syntax. Later.